everybody, welcome back to my channel. Sorry that it's been a while since I've been on here. I had some medical issues, but hopefully things are starting to get cleared up and I can try to be somewhat regular on YouTube again. So I just wanted to do a quick video today. I know I always say that, but I'm really actually going to try to keep them quick from now on, of this new NYX Bear With Me Blur Foundation. This is a blurring tint foundation. It's medium coverage but buildable, which is pretty much probably my favorite option for a foundation at the age that I'm currently at, which is 32. And the shade that I got is light neutral. I am a little bit nervous that this might be too dark for me, but I did follow the chart suggestion on the NYX website, and then I went to Ulta and picked this up in person today. But now that I'm looking at it, it does look like it might be too dark, but we're gonna put it on and see, because again, I did follow the NYX website for the chart. So before we put that on, I did want to start with another NYX product. So I have a moisturizer and an acne treatment so far, but I am going to go in with this NYX Pore Filler primer. And so I'm going to pop this on really quick now. I think this is supposed to be like a dupe for the Benefit Professional, which I don't use the Benefit product anymore because this channel is fully cruelty free, as you know if you've watched any of my videos before. And it kind of has the same texture, but it does look a little bit different when it comes out. Like the color of it is a little bit different, but it has that same texture. I do feel like you have to use a little bit more of this one than you did with the Professional to cover your entire face though. I'm not really sure why that is, but that's just been my experience. But definitely I have very large pores and I have super acne prone skin currently. And so a pore filling primer is definitely the best type of primer for me to be using currently. So I want to give this foundation its, best chance to perform well, and I feel like using a primer that's pore filling and from the same brand is going to give it the best opportunity to do that. Alright, so I do think my skin feels a lot smoother. It does feel like the pores are filled in. And now we will jump into this. So I'm just going to give it a little shake. I believe this was around $14 at Ulta. This should be the same price on the NYX website. It's difficult to open, but I got it open. It's a little squeeze tube. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit onto the back of my hand. It's definitely looking like it's going to be too dark. So I do have the NYX Marshmallow sponge that I will use to buff it out and get rid of any harsh lines, but I want to start applying with a foundation brush, which is what I prefer with most foundations, and this is the IT Cosmetics foundation brush. So I'm going to start putting this on now. Alright, so I had started putting it on my face, but I'm going to zoom you in so that you can see it a little bit better, hopefully. So I did already put it on again with that IT Cosmetics foundation brush, and that's what it's looking like so far. It actually doesn't look super too dark, but it definitely looks like I probably could have gone a shade or two down, but maybe we'll be able to make this work with powder and concealer. It has a good texture. It feels, moussey. It doesn't feel super heavy, but I do feel like you're getting really good coverage for how light of a foundation it feels, which I really appreciate because typically I do prefer a more full coverage. Uh-oh, my cats are fighting. Alright, let's try the forehead. And I do currently have pretty bad acne, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, so it's nice to see that this is covering all of that. But I do still feel like you can still see some little freckles and some little, some of the natural imperfections in my skin, so it's not super cakey looking, at least so far. It's going on really well with a brush too. I would probably in the future use a brush to put it on just because I feel like this is going really well, but I do want to go back over it with a sponge here in 1 second. So the only thing that I'm noticing is it is clinging a little bit to some dry spots around my mouth. And then also I really need to like wax my upper lip, and so you can kind of see these little hairs I feel like peeking through a little bit more than you could with some other foundations that I have. But again, that's on me for not like waxing or like shaving this off before the video. Alright, so that's one coat on. Again, good coverage. I feel like the shade is not terrible. It might actually end up working. Let me zoom you back out again so you can kind of see it against my neck there. We'll see if it oxidizes up anymore, but once I put on concealer and some powder, I feel like it should be able to balance out even if it is a little bit too dark. But it actually is working. So I take back what I said that it did seem like it was too dark originally. Maybe following the instructions on the NYX site was the way to go. So what I'm going to do now is put the foundation brush down, and as I mentioned before, I'm going to use the NYX Cosmetics marshmallow sponge, and I'm just going to pick up, I have a tiny bit left on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to pick that up on the sponge and kind of buff everything out really good with that to make sure there aren't any harsh lines or any places that I missed. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with this NYX marshmallow sponge to buff it out. Again, I try to use the same brands in videos where I can, using the idea that hopefully if you use the same brand's products, they're meant to work together. I will say there was a foundation brush that was available on the NYX website that I didn't see at Ulta, so it is possible that you would get a better application if you did purchase the brush that they specifically made for this product. But I am going to just start, like I said, buffing this out. I'll zoom you back in. And I feel like it has a really nice skin-like finish. It does look, at least on me, it leans a little bit more matte, which I prefer. So I'm very, very happy about that. And I would definitely say upon first application, again, I literally just have had it on for like 2 minutes, but I think that I really, really like it so far. And I think that it's giving me the exact type of coverage that I prefer. Alright, so I think that's looking really good now that I buffed it out with that sponge. And so what I'm going to do now is go finish the rest of my makeup and fix my hair, and then I will be back to let you see what it looks like with a full face of makeup. Please remember I am going to use concealer and powder, so it may change the finish a little bit. But if you have any questions, I'm happy. If you'll leave a comment down below, I can wear the foundation on its own with no concealer, no powder for a day and let you know how it wore completely by itself. Alright everyone, so I am back with a full face of makeup on, obviously. So if you're curious about what I'm wearing, just really quickly, the main things are the eyeshadow palette is this Huda Beauty chocolate brown palette, and then the lipstick is a liquid lipstick from the Profusion Jurassic World collaboration, and it's in the shade I'm Tenacious. If you have questions about the other stuff on my face, you can let me know. But the main thing is I am loving this foundation, so I think that this, let me zoom you in some more. I think this is now officially my favorite drugstore foundation. I'm not even kidding. My favorite part was I didn't have to use powder for this. So I did put on concealer. I obviously used blush, bronzer, and highlighter. And the only powder that's on my face is just a little tiny bit that I put under my eyes to just set that concealer down so it didn't crease. But the rest of my face is just the foundation. Nothing was on top of it. I went straight in with powder blush, powder contour, powder highlighter. And it feels really good. It doesn't feel cakey on the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. It didn't oxidize. And honestly, I just really feel like it's a good match for me. I was nervous. Like, I feel like if you can tell, like, while I hold this up, doesn't this look darker than like it is on my skin, I feel like. So I'm not sure what exactly is causing it to look like that. But I would say if you are not sure of your shade, use the chart that's on the NYX website. I don't think Ulta has it up yet. They may get it later, but NYX currently does have it up. And that's what I did to figure out what shade I was. The other thing you could do is just go into Ulta. I think most Ulta should have them in the stores by now. My Ulta literally unboxed these today. But go into the store and look at it, and even if it does look a little bit dark in the packaging, if you think it's the shade you normally would be, like based on the description. So like for me, I'm usually always light neutral in any foundation. Like if it has that type of a description, light neutral is typically what I always am. And so this is literally called light neutral. I would say trust that. And then remember, you know, Ulta does have a return or exchange policy. So if you did accidentally buy the wrong shade, worst case scenario, you could use it, take it back to the store, tell them that you've used it so they don't put it back out on the shelf, obviously. And usually they'll give you your money back or let you exchange it for a different shade with no issues at all. So I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 black cats. I think the cost is more than fair. Application was phenomenal. I think you can use a brush or a sponge for this. Let me zoom back out. I'm over here holding it up and you can barely even see it. You can use a sponge or a brush. Either way, I think it's going to look great. And the packaging I think is really nice. I like that it's just simple packaging. I like that it has the baby pink on it. Baby pink is one of my favorite colors. And so I think that it just looks really, really nice. And honestly, I do think that this holds up to higher end foundations. Before this foundation, my current foundation that I've been using the most is the Hourglass. I think it's called Soft Ambience, whatever the new one that had just come out a few months back. And I feel like I actually like this better. So I've had it on for about 2 hours now. I wanted to let it sit and see like if it started to crease or crack or do anything weird. So I haven't done a full wear test yet. But from having it on for about 2 hours, I absolutely love it. So highly recommend it. It is cruelty free. It is vegan as well. So it's a great, let me double check that it's vegan. Yes, and it is described as a matte blurred finish. Absolutely blurred and matte, exactly what it claims to do. So definitely if you are in need of a new foundation and you'd like one at a drugstore price, I would highly recommend picking this one up. If you do have any follow-up questions about how it wore over time or any other things, again, like if you have a question about what else I have on my face today, you can leave those down below and I will try to do another video as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.